Hey everybody, welcome back. I am the Gerbil, and today I am coming to you from Keystone Dam on the Arkansas River in Oklahoma. Fun fact, there is a original settlement of the town called Prue at the bottom of the lake that, well, it was wiped out when they dammed it up in 1964 to create the lake. But anyway, Prue has since moved on and reestablished elsewhere. Nonetheless, today's video is a question and answer session. Hoorah! It's been a while since I've done one of these. I apologize to everyone who has posted questions and I have not got back to you. So let's get started. This one is guaranteed to have some fun, interesting game, but off-topic stuff as well. And FYI, I am staring at my laptop screen with the sun directly behind me, so if I go way off topic, it's probably because I cannot see the screen on my laptop. I have no idea what I'm looking at. Here we go. Question number 1. It says, besides Leia and Qui-Gon, what other SWGOH characters would look great in a poncho? Well, I think I've put the best ones there. I think Wicket would look amazing in a true Mexican style poncho. I don't know about Stormtroopers. I tried to find some. This was the best I came up with. Vader, of course, my man, would be amazing, as would Little Pill. I'm sorry, R2-D2. If you got the Pill reference, then good for you. Number 2, the question is basically like, is the Jedi Lightspeed bundle really worth getting? And this is a hot topic because the new raid, in my opinion, is quite disastrous. I really do not like the raid. More on that in a moment. But the bundle itself, I do believe is $20, and I bought it for my alt account. It comes with 5 Jedi, and then this was the only graphic I found in my limited time of searching. And, is it worth $20? Well, by any measure of gear per dollar value, and I'm going to stick with US currencies, relative to any other bundle in this game, absolutely. I mean, these 5 characters alone, I believe the only Chirotech they have is their Gear 12 finishers, but that's still 500 Chirotechs. Now, 500 Chirotech pieces, if you were to buy that $5 bundle, gives you 50. So let's just do some quick math. 500 pieces for $20, or you'd have to buy the 50-piece bundle. It gives you 25 computers, 25 Chiro shock sticks, whatever. You have to buy that 10 times. 10 times 5 is $50. Boom, right there, you're ahead. Not to mention, this gives you all the relic gear because it takes you up to relic 5, I believe it was, on each of the Jedi. But are they good characters? Sadly, not really. Now, Qui-Gon is an amazing Jedi leader. You slap an Omicron on him, and then at early game, this is a fine squad. Just drop it in GAC early game. People are going to have a hard time with that because Qui-Gon is going to make them hit a lot harder. But as you develop your roster and you build up Jedi Knight Anakin, eventually you get in there like Mace Windu, maybe you get Cam through your guild or something, then this becomes an amazing squad all the way to end game. Of course, you're going to be pulling out Kit and Luminara and all those others. The only one of real value here also, though, I think is Plo, because Plo is a fantastic pilot in the negotiator fleet. He's generally your first or second reinforcement, and in like territory wars, you really only want 5 ships total. The ideal lineup last time I looked was Anakin, Marauder, Y-Wing, and then your reinforcements were in order Plo, Ahsoka. I don't know why that works. It seems to be the best defense. It seems to strip banners more. I have no idea. Don't quote me on it, please, but that is what a lot of guilds I know put down on defense, and it seems to be working. Question number 3. So the question is, any advice on how to get this injector cell salvage, and is it worth farming it? And my answer is no, don't farm it. You get this thing from all 7 of the assault battles. You can get it through territory battles, Rise of the Empire, and you can get it through the championship store. It is on the light side 8H, but I would never actually actively farm this. I feel that if you are developing your assault battle teams, and that is like a strong encouragement to do so, then you should eventually be able to unlock challenge tier 1 of each of the assault battles relatively easily. Like some of them, like military might with rebels, you can do with gear 12 rebels. And through that, you should be getting 6 of these a month, which is 60 of these a month. But then you will also find yourself getting them other places, and I can't remember how or why, but like I looked into my main account and I have like 900 of these or something in reserve, and I checked my alt account, it's 5.5 million, and it also has like it had like 300 and something in reserve. And I don't, especially on my alt, I don't hesitate to gear up characters when I get them. When I see all those green dots are ready to go, if it's a character I'm even remotely going to use, I tend to just do it. I mean, I'm not a hyper-focused player in that regard, so I think that these are not worth farming. I think it's way better to use that energy to farm Chirotech pieces that are needed in a much greater abundance, right? All new characters, going back to Inquisitors and Bad Batch, all seem to need 400 to 500 Chirotechs each, whereas you're only going to need 50 of these for that Gear 12 finishing piece. So no, I would not do that. Hey, any thoughts on Ahsoka GL mechanics? I have actually not given that any thought, but who is this? Sorry, I can't see my screen. LouisBot902. You had a really interesting idea that maybe Ahsoka GL will synergize with multiple characters of the same name, meaning Han Solo, Young Han, Stormtrooper Han, or something like that, or Ezra, and then like Lothal Ezra, and then a new Ezra from the Ahsoka show, right? I don't need that lightsaber Ezra, or something like that, right? I think that that could be really interesting, or that they revive a fallen character as a different version of that character with a different kit or something. I think that could be really, really interesting, but no, actually, I really have not given it much thought. So we'll just see how that goes. Next question. This one comes to us from Leopold. Hello, Leopold. The question is also about Lightspeed bundles. Like, when is the next one coming around? And I really couldn't say. I mean, like, I actually was like scavenging, trying to see if that would be outlined on like SWGOH events or something, and I didn't find any record of anybody who's keeping track of when they've been posted and when they're likely to come back around. There are a couple, like the Slicker one seems to come around every 3 to 4 months, but really, like, I think your best bet is just to, you know, keep that gift card money handy, ready for when it does show up. Pay attention to Reddit, and maybe check out the SWGOH Discord events group, because they tend to do really, really awesome with their data mines. But if somebody else actually knows or has access or knows where a calendar is that's keeping track of that, please post that in the comments down below. That would be awesome for Leopold, and I would appreciate having that myself. Otherwise, your ponder and speculation's as good as anyone's, I think. Next, from Catholicket. That's like Chocoholic. Catholic. Oh man, I should definitely practice these names before I get there. So anyway, you're asking about if I would do a video like with some off-meta teams. And you know, one of my favorite ones that I'm looking at right now is with the Ewok Elder / healer Datacron, where the healers are dropping the cooldowns, and Ewok Elder can essentially use either of 2 different revive mechanics every single turn. And I'm thinking about putting that on defense this GAC just to see what happens. You go Jedi Master Luke, Wat Tambor, he puts Tank Tech on Jedi Master Luke, forcing the attack on him, and then putting in Jolie, who revives JML, Visas, who revives everybody, including Wat, and Elder, who revives everybody, including Wat. And then with all those cooldowns, like, I'm thinking that if it works the way I think it does, then like Jedi Master Luke potentially is just doing his AoE mass ability. Is it ability block or is it buff immunity? I can't remember. Just every single turn. I mean, maybe not. Maybe the AI won't play it that way. I don't know. But essentially, he's one of the strongest tanks in the game. He still will have the inherited teaching mechanic through Elder, who, if he calls Elder to assist, probably wouldn't. He'd probably call Jolie, but if he calls Elder to assist, he's going to be pumping turn meter to the entire team. So, like, there's just a lot of really interesting opportunity there. Otherwise, like, I'm still totally rocking Admiral Akbar with Princess Leia, and I am dying to get the Stormtrooper Han. Datacron haven't got it. I love Fulcrum in there. She has a non-attack move whereby she copies all the buffs around the board and then big slaps somebody. And then, believe it or not, I actually just got a win and a hold. I believe there's a hold also with Tivo, Poplu, and then Elder using this Eldercron. Another fun one right now, and it's going to go away soon, but the Slicker Kron, where he gains offense for every relic level on all the allies. It doesn't matter which allies you put with him. You can put him with Phasma and the worst First Order team out there, and save yourself a second really awesome Kylo Unmasked team to go, with him. Because if you're using this on offense, his opening AoE is often going to just delete the entire enemy team to start. It's just like, boom, one hit, done in 5 seconds. So it doesn't matter which First Order people you put with him, as long as they have relics. So that's kind of a fun one too. Anyway, I'll consider a dedicated video for that. Hey, next up is a fun one. If I was to play a mirror match against myself, who would I put on defense? How would I play it? Well, sincerely, I think I would put all of my GLs, and I only have 7, I don't have Vader. I would put all 7 of my GLs on defense, because that's what I struggle with the most, is off-meta GL counters. I mean, yes, I could counter 5 of them, 4 of them for sure. I don't think I could get through all 7, and I kind of hate saying that, because if you're my upcoming GAC opponent and you're listening, that's what you should do to me. Hey, next up, question about some kind of hokey game. I'm not sure, about some people called the Edmonton Oilers versus the Florida Panthers. I did some research, and there probably are not Panthers in Florida, so I'm a little confused by that. But anyway, you're asking for some predictions about this, somebody named Sir Moan. So I'm doing my best here, and I broke down what I think is going to happen, and if it's already happened, then I'm just behind. But see here, there's going to be 7 games first off, and in game 1, Connor McDavid is going to channel Anakin Skywalker, dancing across the ice with a Jedi like force speed. Expect a few hat trick slam dunks from the Oilers there. And then you can read the rest of this, but I think it's going to be just an absolute blast, and if you're a golf fan, you're going to love it. All right, question. I should number these. From Leopold here. The question is, oh man, I can't even read this. Can I do a video about Lightspeed bundles? Oh, and when they come back. Oh, I wonder what the previous question was. Huh, did I get that all wrong? We got to go back here. Let's go back in time. This question, any clue about when the bundles come around? Hey, look at that. I got 2 questions that are the same. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. So let's just see. Here we go. Pappy, can you do a video about Lightspeed bundles, and when they come back, you need the finalizer one? Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Okay, this one is one of my favorite topics in the game, is Home One Fleet. I know Arnold did a video about it recently, and I've been saying it for quite a bit longer, that last year, a year ago at this point, I 100% expected that this year's Capital Fleet was going to be Jedi Resolute-led Anakin, General Skywalker, rather. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. About December, I guess it was, I started shifting that and thinking, well, what if we don't really get a capital ship? What if we get a Home One lifter? See, a lot of people believe that Home One is the least capable fleet in the game. And on defense, I would probably agree with that. As a defensive fleet, it is not good. But as an offensive fleet, it does remarkably well. And so the question that I'm getting here from Smiley is that, what is the best fleet lineup here, right? It says, you're unlocking Profundity. Hans Millennium Falcon is going to go join the Profundity. You're going to probably take over Ghost and Phantom, Outrider definitely, and the Y-Wing. That's your stock 5. Although I'd argue you don't need any reinforcements, leaving the Phoenix Squad here for Home One. But what else am I using with Home One, and what am I able to defeat with it? Well, this goes right into the next question that we're going to have also in a second. But basically, with some practice, your Home One squad, starting with Biston Biggs, Kyle, Catan, and you do need Relic 5, recommend Relic 5 minimum Biggs, totally recommend Relic 7, which makes this a hard pill to swallow. But with some practice, you should consistently max banner or near max banner, be able to take down Finalizer, Radis, Endurance, a mirror match home 1 as long as you're faster, and then Malevolence. There is some RNG in there. There is some very specific strategy you need in there, but the Raven's Claw is way better than people ever realized, mostly because they never played with it, because it just simply did not replace the Falcon when the Falcon was still in the squad, so nobody ever really tried much. But once you get the hang of it, you know what you're doing with it, it is a remarkably good ship under the Home 1 leadership. With that said, you should also be able to consistently beat Chimera and Executrix. But if they have TIE Bomber in their starting lineup, then there is a very specific strategy you must follow, because if that TIE Bomber takes a turn and does the AoE burn, your odds of winning drop off precipitously. However, Kyle Katarn can strip the turn meter off before it takes a turn, and you can gun it down and defeat it without ever receiving the burn applied to your team, and at which point it is a walk over the rest of the Empire fleet. Next up, we've got the Negotiator. Yes, you should be able to beat it. Does not mean you will be able to. That is, of course, speaking with the Marauder being there. If Marauder's not there, you should have a much better than half. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, I tried to get in on a peep there, sorry.
No worries. So you should have a much better than half chance of beating it. I would say probably 70 to 80% consistent win rate. Now, I know in a GAC late, especially, you know, in the Kyber tier, that's not worth risking because a loss is very difficult to come back from. But in the earlier tiers where people don't necessarily have their fleets all geared up right, or they don't have the starting lineup, then you should definitely be able to crush it. Now, what about Executor? If your opponent puts down the triple attacker, you have a chance. I'm going to say it's a 15%. It's not worth trying, but if you're desperate, you have a chance. At a minimum, you can often take out Xanadu before it goes into stealth. It's smarter to take out Razor Crest, but if your goal is just to two-shot it, taking out Xanadu is not a bad opening start. That, of course, leaves Leviathan and Profundity. You have no chance. Just let it go. So what happens if you do have to go up against those meta fleet? In this situation, I recommend a strategy that I like to call just die, because you're not going to be able to defeat it. I don't think there's any viable path to defeating Leviathan or Profundity with a Home 1 fleet. All right, moving on. This is another question kind of about, like, somebody's asking me about this Datacron setup. Like, how are they doing? What can you use it for? Well, this kind of goes back to that team that I was hypothesizing before. The level 6 Healercron with all of those abilities is remarkably good. It is remarkably good. And with the Eldercron, I do believe, yeah, that's Elder, Ewok Elder, he becomes very, very plug and play because he's got a built-in auto-revive mechanic on himself, and he's dropping cooldowns of your team, and he's got 2 universal revives for anybody. I particularly, though, with the tier 7 and 8 protection, I don't know what your 1 and 2s are, but with those 7 and 8 level protections, if you can roll also more protection in the 5 and 6, or 4 or 5, then I would put that on Luke and toss in an Elder. Just see what happens. Give it some practice in Standard Arena before you lock it in GAC. But Jedi Master Luke's inherited teaching mechanic that does true damage is based on his max starting protection. So if you're able to pump that up a lot, like mine at Relic 9 under the previous Datacron set, I was having him hit for like 90 or 100,000, I don't remember, damage every single turn. It wasn't just him, it was all Jedi. Inherited teaching, boom, 100,000, boom, 100,000. And it's awesome. It's kind of fun. Let's see here. This one is about Wookiees. Working on modding Zalbar. I think that's what this is. And you're really unsure about how to mod him. I feel that my advice on this is don't overthink it, and that's because the Old Republic squad, once you unlock Revan, is really not going to be used almost anywhere in the game. Right now, it is an absolute C minus squad in the long run. Early mid game, it's got, sure, plenty of use. All squads do early game, but as you mature your account, you start getting up into the, the 8, 9, 10 million GP range especially, this squad is just not going to go anywhere for you. And while you can use him on an all Wookiee squad, we're going to come back to that in a second, I'm not sure you want to. I did a preliminary search, and there's the link, screenshot it, and then copy and paste. If you're on a Mac, I don't know if Windows does that, I'm sure it does. But screenshot it, copy and paste, and you go check out those links for who to attack with Wookiees, and then how the top 100 guild players are modding Zalbar, and you can see that directly below me there. And it's kind of all over the place. Mostly it's health, defense, and potency, but there's a fair amount of people putting speed on there too. But if I were gonna go all in with Zalbar, I would go defense health, like just straight up tons of defense health with as high potency secondaries and a potency cross as I could, because his basic, if I recall, lands dots, and that can do a lot of damage. It really can. All right. Speaking of the raid that we mentioned earlier, I hate the Naboo raid. So I see you're asking me, Jedi, if I will do a video about best teams. I have hesitated doing that because I hate this raid. Like, I have a full Relic 9 Gungan squad. They are all Relic 9 now, and I've got the Omicron, and people say you can run it on full auto, and I did, and I won. I had to take it off in the last phase. But even on full auto and doing some micromanaging to make sure we're attacking the Staps and the Droidicas, it still took like 14 minutes. I do not want to do 10, 14-minute battles 5 times, especially when RNG kicks in and screws your weaker squads. I hate this raid. Nonetheless, I will consider it, and maybe I will get around to making a video for it. Just a couple more questions left. I think we're down to the final 3. This one's about data creep with data creep? No, sorry. Power creep with datacrons. I don't think that CG is ever going to stop power creep with datacrons, and I don't really feel that there is power creep with datacrons. Every cron set seems to have a slightly different focus, and there are some that have gone and come back, like 15% bonus health protection for all your allies. Some are certainly more powerful than others, and the current one I think is just bonkers. But the thing is, because these come out, initially most people only have a couple, you have to farm them, so the impact is not particularly huge. And then as you get into that second, third conquest of farming, datacron, whatever, then especially Kyber levels, people like me end up with 10, 15, 20 of them. I do not spend any money at all on datacrons, and I'll still end up with 14 or so level 9s from each set. The thing is, they all get dusted, they go poof. So whatever power was there eventually goes away, and then the next one comes out, and like I said, they're not all created equal. So I think that CG is just trying new things with them, and I think the current one is bonkers and OP. We may never see it again, we might, but I don't expect the next one to be more powerful and so on. I don't think that it doesn't actually have that same graph, right? I just kind of like plotted it out across the bottom, and it doesn't look the same to me. And of course, this is just my brain spewing crap on a slide, but I definitely see and understand what you mean, that they're feels like they're getting more powerful, but they're not, right? Like the one that you could put like 300% defense on there and some other stuff, that was bonkers nuts. The current ones, once people figure out what's really happening, and I think a few of them are not working as intended, then I think that they will be more manageable than 300% defense. Or health steal. Health steal, that was even worse. Like, 300% or whatever, health steal on Rey. Good gravy. Hey, Gerbil. Regarding the new portraits, are the Ewoks too scary? No, bro, they ain't scary enough. I know that they don't look that scary in the movies. I mean, come on, this was back in the 70s, 80s when it was released. They didn't want to scare off the audience. They had a lot of kids going to the Star Wars movies. There was no TV stuff for Star Wars yet. George Lucas envisioned the Ewoks as an alpha predator. They were intended to be alpha predators, which is why they were able to provide tactical impactful support to the rebels and turned the tide of their defeat, because they were defeated. They were all captured, lined up, hands over their head, guns to them, right? And then the Ewoks come in and save them. Now, you can think what you want about Ewoks. You can love them, you can hate them, doesn't matter. You have to realize that when the rebels were walking through the forest, Luke Skywalker did not sense 50 of them surrounding them. R2-D2 did not detect them with his motion, radar, heat, sound, and other things. Is all the sensors he's got built in. C-3PO did not, have a bad feeling. Neither did Han. Han did not have a bad feeling. And Chewbacca did not smell them with his animal instincts or sense them otherwise. They were completely caught off guard. They were confused until Han figured out it was a trap with the hanging meat. They were meant to be alpha predators. So with that in mind, perhaps you'll understand why in the game they actually are not terrible. I mean, actually I love them with Nisa. I think they're great. I'm biased, I admit, but yeah, I think that their icons could be even scarier today. Last question, folks. Thanks for hanging in there with me. This question is about that Wookiee squad I alluded to earlier. Falani, if I'm saying that right, or Falani, probably Falani. That's interesting. Look, I'm going to give you some unpopular advice, but I think that it will lead to greater net happiness. It depends on your personality. If all you want to do is win, do not pursue an all-Wookiee squad. It is not a good squad. So you can see below me 4 squads that will be butchered if you go for an all-Wookiee squad. CLS, Old Republic, Jabba Hutt Cartel, and then the Dash squad. All get substantially handicapped if you decide to keep all your Wookiees together. However, if winning is not what matters most to you, and if playing with the characters in the faction you love does matter to you, then go for all Wookiees. I have Relic 9 my Ewoks, I have Relic 9 my Gungans. I do not regret that. I can't tell you what the Gungans do. I have no idea. I put them on defense and I laugh when people don't beat them. That's it. I love the Gungan faction. I did not like them at all when the movies came out. When the original Phantom Menace came out, I really did not like them. But I do now. I like the path less traveled. I like to be that person who's a little bit different. And I really take satisfaction in my Relic 9 Ewoks more than anything. So if you enjoy just doing something a little off-center, if you want to be that cool guildie who has that crazy Wookiee squad, then go for it. Have fun with it. But if you want your account to stay lean and effective and aggressive, it's not going to help you, sadly. Anyway, folks, I am probably getting a sunburn. This area does not smell the best with all the river water and muck and gunk coming out of the bottom of the lake over the dam. So I'm looking forward to getting up and leaving. I thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like, hit the subscribe button. I really do appreciate it. According to my analytics, only about 20% of my viewers are actually subscribed. So please subscribe. And I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later on the Holotables. Take care. Bye-bye.